Hi, my name is Brittany Phillips. I am a NASA JPL Solar System Ambassador, which means that I was hand-selected by NASA as a volunteer to provide outreach to people to show what NASA is working on with its missions to better science and space exploration. Here's some information on the International Space Station. It is the largest and most complex structure ever assembled in space. Including its solar panels, it spans an area larger than a football field. If it were on the ground, it would weigh about 450 tons. The International Space Station orbits at an altitude that varies between 205 and 255 miles above the Earth's surface. It circles our planet at an average speed of 17,000 miles per hour, which means it goes around our world about every 90 minutes. The International Space Station is a partnership between the space agencies of the United States, NASA, Russia, Roscosmos, Canada, Japan, and the European Union. And scientists and engineers from virtually every country in the world have contributed in at least some way. The first module was launched in 1998, and the last major U.S.-built module was delivered in 2011. Delivery and assembly required more than 100 rocket launches. 37 of those were space shuttle missions, and most of the other launches were on Russian rockets. Today, the International Space Station is used primarily for scientific research, but it also has secondary roles in promoting education, international cooperation, and the development of other space-related industry. There's a lot of science that is possible on the space station, but not on Earth. Much of this work involves experiments to learn about the effects of weightlessness or the airless environment of space. Scientists on Earth design the experiments and astronauts carry them out. Most experiments focus on one of four areas of science: human health. Future space missions, such as missions to Mars, will require astronauts to live in space for long periods of time. It's therefore important to understand how weightlessness and space affect us, so that we can be sure the astronauts will remain healthy. Material science. This means such things as learning how different materials react to being in space and how crystals grow when floating weightlessly. This type of research has already led to new manufacturing techniques that can be used on Earth. Biology. In addition to understanding space and weightlessness affects humans, we also want to know how they affect plants and other living organisms. After all, we need plants to recycle air and provide food on long space missions, and biology in space often turns up surprises that are more difficult to study when weight is involved. And lastly, combustion science. This means learning such things as how fuels burn, which will help in developing future rockets and manufacturing capabilities. The International Space Station is an important outpost in space, but ultimately its purpose will probably come through its role as a stepping stone to even greater things. By proving that it is possible for humans to live in space for long periods of time, it is showing that we are ready to return to the moon, go on to Mars, and continue beyond. The International Space Station has had astronauts living on board for the past 20 years. Not the same ones, they rotate out about every 6 months, but for your entire lives, there have been astronauts living and working in space to help make our lives better on Earth. There are currently 3 astronauts living on the space station right now as a part of Expedition 62. We have NASA astronauts Andrew Morgan and Jessica Meir, and Russian cosmonaut Oleg Skripalka. Tomorrow morning, actually, really early at like 3 o'clock in the morning, Expedition 63 will launch from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan with Russian cosmonauts Ivan Vagner and Anatoly Ivashkin, along with NASA's astronaut Chris Cassidy, who will actually be taking over command. Did you know that you can go outside at night and see the International Space Station fly overhead? Well, you can. Just go to spotthestation.nasa.gov. Just put in your location and it'll give you viewing opportunities within about a 2-week time period. It also tells you how long the space station will be visible, its maximum height, and where it appears and disappears in the sky. Viewing opportunities are best at pre-dawn or right after dusk because the space station has not yet moved into nighttime even though our sky is dark and the sun is reflecting off of it. It looks like a very bright star moving quickly across the night sky. Not as fast as a plane, but definitely moving. Thank you so much for joining me today for story time. Here are some different ways that you can follow me. The first is my Solar System Ambassador page. Second, you can follow me on Twitter at Teach on the Moon. My name is Future Teacher in Space on there as, well, I want to teach from space one day. And then also I'll be posting some videos in the coming weeks on my YouTube channel, Future Teacher in Space. Thank you so much, and make sure you go up and look at the night sky.